Here we go. That's right, folks. Once again, we're back here, DP and Robert Esmie, aka the Speed Doctor. Welcome, DP. Introduce yourself once again.
What's up, everybody? D-Payne TV, Clutch TV. We back in this. We got a guest speaker today. Let them know who it is, Robert.
Absolutely. But before we give him the intro, we have to play the right song for the man.
Here we go.
Champion himself. Here we go. Oh, all the way from Kingston, Jamaica, landed in Vancouver, and work his way to the United States. He runs for Canada. He's a Canadian champion, international medalist, and Olympic medalist, the one and only Jerome Blake. Fashion,
Mr.
movie,
Blake.
acting, sprinting, name it. The man can do it all. Where's all the sponsors right now? Come on, knocking on the man's door.
Mr. Blake.
Jerome Blake, it's a pleasure having you with us. It's been a whirlwind for you. You know, at the end of the day, we want to dig into your roots and work the conversation up to today, right? So we want to lay the foundation and build it up. So what kind of kid were you in Jamaica? You were born in Jamaica, am I correct?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I moved to Canada when I was 16, turning 17.
So in Jamaica as a youth, you know, what were some of the things you were doing for fun, and was track in the forefront? What were your passions back in those times?
Track was never it for me. I was more of a cricket player, and I had my grandma called it a 7 to 7 job. So if I don't have school, I wake up at 7 a.m. and I'm gone till 7 p.m. at night. That's it. And I'm always either I'm at the river doing something all day, and come back and home, and that's it. And we'll play cricket, and that's pretty much it. Never really thought about track that much.
In Jamaica, did you learn how to swim? Were you one of those Jamaican we have to say this man can only potentially run but can't swim?
No. I'm telling you, like I love the water so much. Like after school, before school, I'm at a river, like spearfishing, all this kind of stuff almost every day. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff I used to do.
Since you love water, and we know about 70%, 75% of your body is made up of water, how are you using the water to your advantage to training and stuff?
We don't really do much pool workouts anymore, like where I'm at now. But the one thing our coach says to do is hydrate a lot. So I've been drinking lots of water for sure.
Fantastic. DP, you got a question for our phenomenal?
I do. I have a really good question, man. So, like after our season, we have a long season, right? And some athletes continue to compete until late October, right? So how important is it for you to have that off month where you come back, or that off 3 to 4 weeks where you come back before you can rejuvenate to start your next season again? How important is that?
It like recently I just found out it is super important to take time off. Like your body really needs at least 3 to 4 weeks to really reset everything, because reset everything, stop taking all your supplements that you're taking, and just relax and just let your body basically go back to basically day one again, and just reset your entire system, give your body a little bit of a break. And the more time off you take, because naturally when you're in season, you're working around little things that's been bugging you all year, but your body's in competition shape, so you're always ready to compete, you're always ready to run fast, so things don't really hurt as much. So as soon as your body start going back where it's normally, like in a relaxed state, you start feeling all those stuff more, and that's when like, okay, your body's resetting. So that's when you need to just start getting treatment, start moving around a little bit again, and basically just get ready again. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now.
Good. That's important. I'm glad to hear that. A lot of kids that are in high school going into college, they don't even take that time off. They're so excited to get back into the year, but it's very important to do the therapy that you need and to take that off time.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Your body needs rest. That's the most important thing.
Yep.
Form, baby. Now, here's a tough question. So you left Jamaica. What airline did you fly on? You landed. What was your reaction when you landed in Canada? And what did your high school competitive athletic side look like?
The fun, actually, what was it? I think it was WestJet. It was actually WestJet. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it was WestJet. And the funny thing is when we land in Toronto, I didn't know this because in Jamaica, when you're young, like you can buy alcohol, you can do whatever you want. And I had like we bought like duty-free alcohol. And I had it in my hand and we were going through security. And my older brother gave it to me. So I had it. And then the security guy was like, "What is that?" And I was just like, "Oh, it's rum." And he was just like, "You can go to jail." So
No, no, no. Exactly.
I was like, "What?" I was like, "Man, you can go to jail for that." He's like, "Yeah, the drinking age here is 19." I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." Because I was, I could get a drink of 15 in Jamaica if I really
Right,
wanted it.
right. Hey,
So
lesson number one.
yeah,
Learn the
Lesson number one.
culture, real quick.
Yeah,
Now
but
that you're
and then
and
yeah,
now
and then
that
like,
what does that look like competitively for you?
pardon me, what was that?
Now that you're landing in Canada and you started doing some sports, when did you decide to get into track, and what did the high school Canadian section like for you while you were in Canada?
Yeah, like I did track in Jamaica a little bit, but I was mostly a jumper. I just did long jump, high jump because that's the only spot I could get on my track team in Jamaica because we had like 15-year-old kids running 10-4, 10-5s in my high school. So I couldn't make that team. So I just stuck to long jump and high jump because nobody really wants to jump. So I was like, I could make the team go to champs easy that way. So I did that because it was fun that way. Then when I moved to Canada, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do high jump, long jump here, and I was in Kelowna and I met my first coach out there, Pat, and I was at the track with her just day in day out, and she's trying to teach me how to sprint, and I was like, this is not for me. Like I just want to jump, and that's the only thing I could. I fell in love with jumping, so like jumping was just come naturally for me, and we took a little bit of time, and in 2014, actually, Robert Esmie at BC High Schools, and he was telling me who he was, and I was like, oh man, that's pretty cool because I didn't really study Canadian track and field like that, so I didn't really know like all the veterans and all that until like after 2014. So for me, like it took a long time because I remember even when I was in high school, like the elite women in like track and field were running faster than me. So I was still learning and still getting better as I go. So I feel like for me, it just took a little bit of time, but it worked out.
DP, what you got for Hildeberta?
So like when I started running track, it was also kind of like by chance. It was just like because I was a late bloomer. So, and when I actually started, I was also a high jumper and long jumper. So what do you think? I know you said you spoke with your coach, but what do you think kept you to do the sprints instead of maybe like the hurdles or the 800? Because the sprints is like one of the hardest events ever. We got Elaine just now getting close to the women's record. And, our American Trayvon Bermel and a couple of our male sprinters, we're running well, but we're far off the Jamaican world record by Usain Bolt. So what made you say, I want to run the 100 or the 200? And that's like, the hottest or hardest event.
Just my natural ability of just want to get better and just want to be better at something. Like I'm a gamer in a sense. Like I'll challenge myself to do something. Like I'll set my mind to it and I'll try every single day until I get it. If I can't get it, I'll give up. But sprinting was one of those things.
And you know what? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you know why you're like that? Because us Leos have a little something in common. We get it done, baby. That's a Leo characteristic. Sorry, I had to throw that in there, Robert. But yes, I like that.
So, before Leah comes Cancer, so remember that.
Yeah, so like I set my mind to it, and I wrote down all these goals, all this stuff that I wanted to do, and in my bedroom when I lived in Kelowna, like I write all these numbers on papers and I stuck them to the roof. So every night before I go to bed, like, and then like my mom had put like, because it was my little brother's room before, but she had put these little stars in the roof in a sense, and they glow when you turn the light off. So you could still see the numbers on the paper that I put up there because I put the paper over those things. And I was like, I want to be able to see this every night I go to bed, every morning I wake up. So then, and that's what I did. And then I set my mind to it. And, I told myself, I actually posted on Facebook in 2014 that I'm going to run 10-3 the next year. And I did it. Yeah. So it's more or less like I set my mind to all these things and I keep doing it. So I was like, okay, more or less, there's no limits and no more barriers for me then. So then after that, just off I went, just telling myself I can do anything I set my mind to.
That's dope. Power of the mind, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. And big respect to your mom, because you see how advanced your mom was, right? She put that up into the ceiling, which I did the same thing. But the next level where she took it, she put stars around, right? And the sky's the limit, right? How you gonna get to the stars? You can't have those barriers. You gotta right. You gotta see the bigger picture and figure out, how am I gonna get there? Right. Put the plan down. How am I gonna navigate and get there? And by speaking about how to get there, as a young man, this is, I believe, your third track coach, right?
Yeah. This is my third coach. Yeah.
So how were you able to make that decision and said it's time to switch and go into a different coaching scenario or area? Because it's always a difficulty for an athlete as well as a coach when to break and move and go forward for your growth. So when did you make that, and how difficult was it for you?
For me, like even leaving Kelowna was pretty tough because I'm moving away from family. And then when I moved to Vancouver, it was the same thing. Like, you know, I have a group around me. I have a good circle, and more or less I was enjoying my time here, and it was a lot of fun. I had so much things going for me, and I feel like that pulled away from track and field in a sense. And you know, having good mentors is the next thing. You know, one person I really look up to, you know, is Aaron Brown, and you know, just him talking to me and telling me, like, listen, like, you can get a lot better than how you are right now, but the biggest step you're gonna have to take is leaving a comfortable situation to an uncomfortable situation. You want to be in a situation where your coach is not going to be nice to you every day. Like, in a sense, like, you don't want your coach is almost has to be the bad guy every day, in a sense, like, you know. And then I already told, you know, I told my APA at AC that if I'm going to go somewhere, I have to go somewhere where, you know, there's no distractions, in a sense. It's not a college town, so like LSU was out of the picture for sure. And then I had to go somewhere where it's not close to anywhere I can go out and party. So Miami was out of the picture for sure. So the only place I could think of was either Claremont or Jacksonville. And to get in one of those groups, I had to get a Puma contract or I had to get a Nike contract. So then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to run fast then. So then in 2018, I ran 20.3. So I mean, that still wasn't, you know, enough to get me, you know, what I needed, but it was good. It was good enough for them to like, oh, okay, like this guy can really do something, you know, for them to really believe in me and like, okay, what you need to do now is this and this and this, and we'll make sure take the steps that are needed to get you in the proper situation. And then all I did was, you know, just I did my time, and you know, I got some good agents, and you know, they put it into works, and I ended up with Dennis Mitchell in Florida.
Right before DP drop in there, it's something I'm learning right now, that the shoe companies are also sponsoring the coaches and making that situation a sort of the sponsors group, which has changed the whole field. What's it like you can share, or how people navigate to get into that area? Because now you can't really necessarily go, I want to work with this coach. Yeah, they have to be with this brand to work with this coach. It's crazy, you know? But yeah, that's great insight. If you want to share anything more about how that process worked, would be great for reviewers who are looking to maybe navigate that way. Same with you, DP, if you have knowledge in that area. It's something I'm stumbling into that I'm learning right now.
Yeah, I mean, the crazy thing about it is, I mean, it's not crazy. It's more or less like, I feel like a lot of brands are trying to do this as well. Like when you got like super elite athletes that, you know, you're invested in, you almost want to have your investment in a safe place, in a sense, right? So I think that's kind of what they're, you know, a lot of brands are trying to do. They're trying to build different groups with different athletes, work with different coaches. Different athletes like to be around a certain energy of coaches, you know, so not everyone's gonna agree with a certain coaching style or even like work with a certain coaching style. So it's, you know, all these different coaches that are sponsored by these brands, you know, you notice like they all have like a certain amount of athletes from that brand, but they're all just coaching that brand athletes. So that's just what they're doing now. Like Adidas doing the same thing, Nike doing the same thing. I think New Balance is going to do the same thing, and Puma is doing the same thing now. So that's just how they're doing it.
I hear you.
Yeah, I think I kind of did, like, in a sense, the same thing. I moved from, I went to a lot of places. I went to South Carolina, tried to train with Alan Johnson. I went to UCLA for a little bit, was thinking about training with HSI. Then I ended up training at Hampton University. and then ultimately found my way down to Claremont and trained with Dennis Mitchell for a year. And I ended up getting injured, had some stress fractures. But I think honestly, it was easier for me at that point than it probably is for athletes now, because I was already a Nike sponsored athlete, and there were more Nike training groups. I think now it's getting more cliquish, where it's like, if you want to train with Nike, you're going to have to go to Florida and train at that time. There was Coach Brooks at the Wild World of Sports, and David Oliver and Coach Brooks had a huge group that came over from Europe and trained every year. And then Dennis Mitchell and Lance Brahman shared the track at Claremont. And Lance, as you know, is a huge Adidas coach. So we trained on the opposite side of like Tyson Gay and Veronica Campbell Brown, and just a huge athlete. So the mood was excellent because there were so many athletes there, but it also fit you, I think, into a certain box, and not everybody wanted that. I ultimately left and went to another group, and ended up coming back home and settling down in Cincinnati, because I didn't want to keep chasing after groups that I thought, because I was a Nike athlete, I had to be in those groups. And it wasn't until I found my own success that I said, hey, you know what? It's more so the relationship that I have with my personal coach and what I believe in and what he's teaching me, than the group that I'm in, to make me feel like I'm this powerful runner. I do understand that you need to train in a group just to have that race pace, or that, training amongst other horses mentality. But it's more so about you and what you and the coach have and share. And very right, you don't want to be in a college town or whatever, but like, I don't like how it's kind of putting you in a box. They should allow you to, if you're a Nike coach or a Nike athlete, to go train with that Adidas or New Balance coach, especially if that New Balance or Adidas coach was in your past one of your coaches who got you there, and not make you change like that. But yeah, so I totally understand.
But yeah, for me, like I only had like two coaches, like three actually, like my whole high school coach in Jamaica, and then two coaches in Canada that are, unsponsored. So like, I feel like, for me, like, it was never nothing of like, oh, you got to go here if you're going to work at this brand. It was more or less like, do you want to? And I was like, why not? I'm going to train with these people. Why not?
Right,
and for me, and like for me, so young, I mean, for like, even Robert can attest to this. I'm so young when it comes to sprinting. Like, I've only been sprinting for like really 5 years.
Yeah.
Like that. I've only been sprinting for 5 years. And so I have a time when I'm at practice with Dennis, he can't teach me certain things that he can teach Justin or Aaron or, or even Isaiah and all of them. Like, he just said, run. And like, not in that way, just run, but he's just like say, hey, do this. And I just do that, and just compete with everybody else around me. And if I do that, I'm okay. Like, but when it comes to like breaking down technical stuff, I'm not that advanced yet. And he's like, once you get the technical stuff down mentally, it's gonna be second nature. And a lot of people are just gonna be like, oh, where did this guy come from? So that's kind of how, it's just slowly advancing and just getting better every day. That's kind of where it is now.
Yeah.
Well,
believe in the plan.
David Payne can tell you, we've done quite a few episodes, and he can tell you by his mouth how I talk about you. Like, you're the surpriser. People don't know what the hell going on, but watch out for this guy. Watch out for this guy. Watch out for this guy. So I was excited to see all that growth, because from I met you from day one, I'm like, this guy, he's got the raw abilities to go here one day. It's just finding the right system, the right thing to make him there. But let's touch on, you coming to Canada, you're at the Canadian trials. Top two, I believe, make the individual spots. Top three, they made that decision who goes in the third spot. Top 4 to 6, put you part of the relay squad. I think that policy is still in place. What did that look like at the Canadian Championship? And then you making the team, walking into the Olympics, your very first Olympic. What was that energy like? What was that experience like? And especially during a pandemic time, it's never been done before, So yeah, share some.
So for me personally, I've only noticed this happen to me one time this year, and it was at trials. It's more or less like, when a race means so much to you that you put so much emotions into it, and it's almost like you get top heavy, like your head gets heavy.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to win that 200-meter race so bad. Like, it's just I got top heavy. Like, I couldn't, like, I got lost. I got caught watching. Like I watched the race instead of run the race.
Yeah.
So like I got caught watching instead of running, and I finished third, and I knew when I finished third, I was just like, okay, like I'm probably not gonna make the 200. So now I'm gonna have to go turn up overseas and let them know, like, hey, listen, I'm coming for y'all. So it's just like more or less like, for me, like when that happened, I was just like, okay, like I guess I'll just wait and see what happens. And I'm in a good spot. I mean, I know, I run fast this year, so I think I'll make the team for the relays. Yeah. So then, after the team was announced, I was overseas, and I saw the email, and I was like, well, okay, I made the team. Yeah, and then, yeah, because, and then I was just like, okay, I made the team. Like it's still, even to this day, still hasn't hit me. I have an Olympic medal. I think it's downstairs in Ben's room, just sitting there. Because it's just more or less like, it's like I thought about this for so long, and just felt like I belong here for so long, and it was just delayed. So now it's just like, okay, I did one thing that I set out to do. There's two more things that I got to do, and once I do that, then I'll start. Okay, I've done some things that I've said for myself, But I feel like the one thing that I didn't want to do was, especially like going to the Olympics, and that happened to me one time. I made my first Canadian team, and I was so excited and I was so overjoyed that, I forgot the most important thing. I'm here to run, not enjoy myself. So I did. When I went to the Olympics, I was just like, I was serious from day one. The minute I walked in the stadium till the end of it. I think even at the closing ceremony, I wasn't even smiling. I was still serious, like, I'm not done yet. So, I walked in the stadium. I was like, oh, this pretty cool. I was, just did a little live video, got some clips of it, and that was it. After that, I never went back in the stadium until the day we competed.
So like, I think that's awesome. I think we all, as athletes, we have so many different ways of going about competition and the traveling and the ups and downs of either winning or losing and on to the next race, and however many of those you have in the year. But I can remember going to most of the meets and feeling like, looking back on all my races, like, man, did I even go to these places? Because I was so focused on my races that I didn't even really step outside of the hotel. And I was in, Tokyo, Beijing, wherever, somewhere over in the world. And I couldn't even tell you because I was so focused. However, when I went to the Olympics, I do feel like there was a need for that, because you only get so many chances to go there. And there's an absolute need for that. But looking back on that, I'm telling you, the videos that you took, even the small moments that you don't remember, you're going to have many moments where you stop. And this could be 5 years from now, this could be 10 years from now, but passing that medal, you're going to stop and you're going to go back, and 1,000 memories are going to come shooting back at you that you didn't even remember, because we were so focused. It's like when you run a race and your coach comes to you instantly and says, hey, what happened? The race happened so fast, it might take a minute for you to adjust in your mind what actually happened, what went wrong, what went right. So in the sense that the Olympics comes and goes, it's like you're not really focused on that moment outside of how you want to do, as far as like enjoying the moment outside of your competition. But you will. I'm telling you, when I was on the podium, I had the same look. I had got a silver medal when I was like pissed because I wanted that gold medal. Yeah. And when I look back at it now, it's like, holy cow, I won a silver medal. It's like the athlete in us will not let go of. Yeah. That's why we're so great. That's why you're so great. It's because you have a high set for what you want to accomplish. And even though you might have gotten a gold or a bronze or whatever, you didn't do what it is that you wanted to do. And I appreciate that in all of us as athletes. And but you will appreciate every moment that has gone by, even if it goes by slow or fast. So many moments you'll look back on. So, and you're so young, you have so many other opportunities. So I'm just excited to see where else you go and what else you do. But this is definitely just the beginning. But you're going to appreciate all of that. Even looking like I'm not ready. At the closing ceremony, you was there. You were at the closing ceremony. So that's dope.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, with that being said, now you came back, you're a medalist. You know how difficult is it to get sponsorship to get that dream going? Most of them want to see you come back with a medal and says, okay, now you can talk to me.
Yeah.
Now you're back with a medal when you've got your team in together. Jerome Blake, you the brand, right? Now I think you're doing modeling, acting, because you have to make X amount of money to pay for all the training, the this, the that, right? So within there, how do you make that income, and what avenues are you going to make that income, and why should sponsors say, I want Jerome Blake on my marketing team, my brand?
I mean, the good thing about me is, like, you know, I think if you look at most athletes today, now they're starting to learn that, like, it's not just all sports. You know, brands look at, like, how marketable is this person? Like, can we market this person to the public? Can we sell this person to the public? And, like, if you really look at me, like, now a lot of people may think like, oh, are you a track athlete, or you're a model, or an actor? Which one? You know, like, I tell them, like, I do all of it, you know, but the most important thing is track and field. I'm focused on that, but, you know, to take my mind off that kind of stuff, as soon as I come home to Vancouver, like, the first thing I started doing was, you know, like, yesterday I had a show with Off Whites, and it's one of those things that, you know, like, I keep doing stuff. Tomorrow I have a commercial that's I'm filming for like 10 hours. So it's just like, you know, some of those things, like, you know, for me, it's like, it's pretty cool. It's a cool experience for me to, like, go out and do all this kind of stuff outside of track and field. And everyone's like, oh, what do you do for a living? You tell them, like, what are you doing here? You know, kind of thing. So it's just kind of fun for me to just go out, because, like, normally I don't really get to meet a lot of people, because, like, I'm so, like, tucked away when I come home. I don't really go out and really do anything. So it's more or less like I'm just still so tucked away. I try to just, you know, just relax with my friends and just don't really do much. So now this really gives me an opportunity to go out there and, you know, and just, you know, meet people and just, you know, just pretty much market myself to, like, brands and stuff like that. And I'm pretty good at doing that, because I surround myself with a very good team. Like, you know, I have a marketing agent, I got a track agent, I got a film and TV agent, and I got a model agent. So everyone's putting stuff into place for me to make sure I'm successful. And that's what I'm pretty happy for.
I am so proud to hear that, because back in my days, I understood that. So when Nike came to me, I ripped up my first Nike contract, by the way, right? Because I said, that's not me, the track athletes. I am the brand. Well, you see, when I walk on a stage and you brought in people who you spend a lot of money on, look and see who the crowd react most to and captivate the crowd. It's me. So let's redo my contract, right?
Yeah.
They will tell you, I was not the fastest on the track, but I'll make more money as a global brand athletes and understanding. And the way now marketing has moved to clicks, likes, reaction, all this is now step up the game. But the fact that you're able to see yourself early as a brand and says, okay, as a brand, how many pieces of areas am I going to do to concentrate on the income that I want to provide, the gifts and the abilities that God provide you, and bring them all wrapped up. Yes, track is the main one, right? That's the main focus. But when you're not on the track or off the track, what is bringing that income in? What is generating stuff? And at the end of the day, if you can sleep and make money, that's part of the secret, right? Because we do get injured. We're athletes. So if that happens, what is the backup plan? And knowing that you have something in place like that, I am so proud of you, even beyond your track stuff, because now you're thinking global as building Jerome Blake to the next level.
But
I think I'm sorry, go ahead.
But I also started something way bigger than just myself too. Like, I actually started a charity. So we actually just got sponsored by RBC too. So that's breaking news. I think
that's awesome. Congratulations, man.
That's all there knows, whatever. But
break it here.
Yeah. Baby. Yeah, we started a charity called Stepping Stone, you know, just to basically how my story went. You know, my first coach, Pat, she really put a lot of effort into me, whether it's financial effort, you know, just a lot of things that she did for me. And I told her, like, hey, if I ever make it past where I am today in sport, I'm going to pay you back. And she said, don't worry so much about paying me back, help somebody. So that's stuck with me ever since. And that's been the goal ever since, you know, to do something that's going to help a lot of people. So now I started a charity to do kids mentorship programs and stuff like that. And we're doing, we're gonna, like, in the next couple weeks here, like, we're gonna start a program called Stepping Out with the Pros, and we're gonna try to get, well, not try to, we actually have people, but to go do it. We're just gonna have, like, real life professionals go out and meet with groups of kids and stuff like that, and, you know, so just so they can, hey, like, if we can do it, you can do it too, kind of thing. So I mean, it's there's some things I'm
do I love the guy, DP? That's why I love the guy.
I think that's so awesome, man. I think that's very commendable for you. I've always heard that too. Pay it forward is the term that I always used to hear. And when someone helps you, you turn around and help someone else. But I do want to touch on the fact that you said that, you know, you're not just an athlete, you're also a model, an actor, I'm not sure if you're a comedian, but I think also you perform. So, yeah. So my thing is, this is my thing. It's like, this was the first year, and I'm an old school, so I didn't start seeing none of this until obviously like Vine and Instagram and TikTok and all this stuff came out. But like, I think this is the first year that I started paying attention to how, and I don't know if it's just the Sha'Carri incident. I don't want to give her that much light, even though she did bring an excitement to track and field, that like Virgil Abloh and Ricardo TC and athletes being invited to the Met Gala. And it's showing you that we're not just athletes. You know what I'm saying? Like outside of the fact that we have phenomenal bodies, obviously, because we run for a living, we do have minds. You know, we can be attractive. We can be extremely smart. We can act. We can do all these things. And the fact that we're getting more opportunity here, and it's not just like a one-off sport, a D-class sport, because we're not basketball or football or golf or whatever. I think that's awesome. I do want to see more opportunities given to men, though. Like I see a lot of women this year have been doing their thing, and they deserve. But I just think I want to see more men. Like I want to see track and field be sponsored, how tennis is sponsored. You know, like Sydney McLaughlin sponsored by Tagwear. Like bring a sponsor like that in for the overall track and field, and sponsor a Tagwear watch at one of the meets for the winners or something. Like, you know, like, and I think the problem is we've been they've stopped that. I think not only Nike, but there's been a monopoly on what the athletes are allowed to do and how our coverage is allowed to be. And I think if they open that up, it'll allow for our sport to get more recognition and on a higher level, like tennis or golf or these sports that have higher sponsors, higher end sponsors. We'll take all the sponsors we can get, but when you minimize how many sponsors we can have, that's when, and I think that was the birth of all the athletes going outside of track and field and trying to get a sponsor here and there for something completely different. Like I had, and then I'll give the mic back to you. But I had some friends who were like, yo, why are you sponsored by? And they were looking at all my sponsors. And I had like ostrich meat sponsor. I had like, you know, crazy sponsors, but they were paying me to use their product and, you know, be one of the faces of their product. And I love to see more opportunities for us in that zone. And I like how you said, like, I'm not just an athlete, I'm all of these things. And I don't think enough track and field athletes, we capitalize off of that. And I think we need to start doing that, especially with how you sell yourself on social media.
Yeah, that's true. And I feel like also a lot of athletes, what they try to do up front first is like, they're like, oh, I'm all about the money. Show me what I'm getting. Show me what I'm getting. Give me the check. Give me the check.
Do first.
But they don't understand that, like, even that, like, you know, sometimes like it's not all about money, you know, like it's not about paper. It's not about instant paper. It's about longevity paper. And I'm starting to learn that now. Like, you know, at a certain point, you're going to have to stop this sport. Like, this is not forever.
Right.
So like what I've learned is like, this sport is not forever. So you got to put yourself in positions where, hey, look, keep the $10,000, $20,000 you're going to give me. Use that $20,000. I'm buying a piece of the company. You give me a piece of the company for $20,000. Whatever I can get for $20,000, give it to me. However many years it lasts, I'm going to have it. I'm going to have that $20,000 that I bought in your company, and I'll have that forever. So that's something you can have forever. And that's what I've learned last year, speaking to like somebody who I met. He's like, listen. And it was actually somebody who was like actually working a sponsorship with me. And he's like, listen, like, I'm going to give you this, but if we ever work again in the future, I don't want you to ever tell me you want cash. You don't want no check from me. Tell me you want a piece of my company. And then we'll sit down and actually have a great conversation. I was like, okay, see you then. And I went back to Kelowna. We have a great conversation, and a great conversation turned into a very, very great conversation.
Right.
So for me personally, I've grown up a lot and learned that it's not all about fast cash. It's about longevity. So now it's just like I'm learning all that. That's usually I'm starting with the film stuff now, because like the one thing is you can be 65 years old and be an actor.
Sure can. And just start. Start.
Yes, sir.
You got it, my
So-
friend. You got it.
Yep.
Think global. Well, first of all, we want to thank you for being here,
Yeah.
sharing your story. Definitely looking forward for part 2. We are going to make it yearly to watch your progress and celebrate you because, as I said, what you're doing is beyond what a lot of people are doing. And I always want to celebrate that. I'm one of your biggest fans since I met you from day one. And I will always continue to look out for you and praise you and make sure your light is shining bright.
For sure. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for coming and spending some time with us. I'm actually mad because I felt like we just now started to get into the conversation.
We can come back part 2.
For sure.
Robert always talks about you, and now I'm definitely a fan of you after meeting you personally. And keep it up, and looking forward to seeing you on the next episode.
Yeah, thank you very much. Again, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
he talks a lot about the Americans, so I have to balance it out.
I got to.
But
don't worry.
you can
I'll be up there knocking on doors soon.